I think the players have a better understanding of how we need to play to have success, and that's a big part of it is keeping pucks out of our net. Now, our goaltending's been very good. That's one thing. But we don't give up the same amount of odd man rushes that we have in the past. We don't give up the same amount of bad turnover chances as we have in the past. So I think we're a little bit more responsible with our play in that area. And I mean, we talk about it. The goals are going to come as long as the work is there, and that's something that I continue to see from the players.
Can you get more comfortable in those types of games, those grinded out type, tight checking games?
Sure. I mean, if you're in them like we anticipate being in them all year, it's nothing new for us. And I kind of have sensed that a few times in third periods where it's like, hey, it is what it is. Let's just keep playing. And for me, that is the mark of a resilient team. Now, we've talked lots about we want to play with the lead for sure because it's not easy to come back. And as the season progresses and teams get a little bit more dialed in as we get further along, it becomes harder to come back in games. So we want to make sure that we're finding a way to generate some more offense to start playing with the lead a little bit more than we are for sure.
That's a real skill, isn't it? To be patient, like you said, just to have that mindset of it is what it is, and let's embrace it as opposed to get impatient with it.
Yeah, for me, a lot of it is you don't beat yourself. If you can learn to play that style of game and you don't give your opponent much high quality and you don't put yourself in bad situations by taking poor penalties at the wrong time or mismanaging the puck at the wrong time, you take a lot of pride in not hurting yourselves. You'll give yourself a chance at some point in the game to get back into it. And that's one of the things, or one of the qualities that I've seen develop in our group over the course of the year. And as I said, now it's about finding a way to piece everything together. And that's what we'll continue to work on. Yeah.
We've had a lot of different line combinations this year, but I'm not sure we've seen Backlund and Coleman broken up to this point. So what's the thought process if you go in that direction?
Yeah, we'll see. We're not really sure yet the direction that we're going to go for tomorrow. I mean, we had a couple guys with maintenance days today that weren't on the ice, but I think with Blake, trying him with Connor and Hubie, Blake is sandpaper a little bit. He brings what Pospisil would typically bring to Kadri and Kuzmenko. There's another, I feel like he's a body that will get in the mix and try to free up some pucks for those other two guys. And with Michael and Matty Coronado, I find their work ethic is really, really good right now. And I think with Sharon, he complements them with a little bit of skill, but also he's responsible with the 200-foot game. So we'll see. It's an option for us to move forward with.
Do you feel like your club maybe to get more offense just has to simply shoot more? You've kind of implied it in the past, but do you feel like shot first mentality?
That's one, but I think we have to get greasier. You have to pay a price to score goals. I mean, goaltenders in this league are too good if there's not second, third, fourth efforts in front of them, if the traffic isn't there, if their sight line is easy for them to pick up pucks, they're going to make saves all the time. And most teams have big defense. Most teams. Like, you see guys that are 6'4", 6'5", and they don't make it easy on you to get inside. So you want to score a goal, you're going to have to pay a price. And oftentimes when you look at our players and the guys that aren't scoring right now, where they score goals in the past is typically right around the net. And Andre is a great example of that. So get there. You want to score goals, you got to get to that area. And I don't think it's a magic recipe or you got to find seam passes or backdoor tap-ins. You got to get greasy.
A couple of days ago about Nazem Kadri just sort of putting that pressure on himself to produce. He's had points in his last two games, particularly in the third period last night. Have you felt that? Have you seen that confidence there?
Confidence is always there with Naz. I mean, you're always going to have stretches where, hey, I'm forcing the issue a little bit or nothing's going for me. But Naz he's a believer in his ability, and he knows that if the work is there and his competitive fire and the kind of the hard player that he is there, his points will follow. That's kind of a byproduct of the way he is.
Is it different with a guy like him who does have so much experience when he is maybe not putting points on the board? Like he knows how to trust the process and trust his game.
Sure. And I go back to who he is. That's just if he plays the game the way when Naz is at his best, he's fiery and he's engaged and he's involved and he's a little bit edgy. His offense follows from that.
Sorry. Do you counsel Zary at all? It seems like you could have 10 now.
Yeah.
Or do you just leave him alone because he's so competitive internally?
I don't counsel him on scoring goals, I'll tell you that much. All the thing for me is if the chances are there, they're eventually going to go for him because he is an offensive player and he's talented that way. We more work with him on the different little habits and details of his checking game. At the end of the day, whether he's a center or a winger, if he's a guy that is trusted to be a 200-foot player, can be on the ice against anybody at any time, his value is just going to go right through the roof. So we see the whole package in him. So I spend more of my time working on the other side with him because he's naturally offensive the other way, and it will come as long as the work is there.
Was there another step in that category last game in terms of the center ice?
Yeah, I thought so, for sure. I mean, early on in the game, they had a lot of time in the offensive zone. There's a couple things that we can always clear up in our own zone. We got passed through a few too many times last night, and it's an area that we have to be better at against a team like the Rangers coming in here tomorrow.